You fucking bastard! Joseph raised the pipe over his head. Sound of impact. Stop, Lazarus, it hurts. Shut up. Joseph, help me, please. Please, don't. Idiot. Lazarus punched him in the face and knocked him over. The blow landed on the nose bridge. A loud cracking sound, and a huge hole appeared in Joseph's head. Crimson blood seeped through the ripped skin. Fucking bitch! What is good, y'all? It is Brucey here. We're back with another video. Today we're playing Daiku No Medium. This is another game made by the same creator of Milk Outside the Back of Milk, which is Nikita Kryukov. So let's get right into it. I haven't really seen anything about this game, so I don't know. A huge explosion rang out, followed by the piercing sound of screeching metal. The crew struggled to maintain control of the ship as it lurched to the side. The cockpit was bathed in crimson light. A warning was flashing on the main screen. Stern damage. Critical. Chaos ensued. Personal belongings were flying around, smashing against the metal walls. Sparks flew around, lighting the dim cockpit for a brief moment. Another explosion. The cockpit grew dark for a second, then some of the light went back on. Anna was sitting by the captain's right side. She was frantically toggling all the switches in her vicinity, trying to stabilize the ship. With shaking hands and her face as white as chalk, the girl did her best to stay calm. Anna, Captain, the left cargo bay is damaged. We have to... With the control stick still tightly gripped, Lazarus leaned forward and patted Anna on the shoulder. Keep calm. First mate. Yes, Captain. My apologies. The captain's confident voice brought Anna back to her senses, and she managed to relax a bit. A third explosion caused the ship to drastically lose speed. Second mate Joseph, who was sitting by the captain's left side, fell from his chair with a rattling sound. Captain, we're lacking engine power. He looked resolved and eager, even though his voice was trembling. The captain turned his gaze toward the second mate. He took a moment to decide on the further course of action, and then proclaimed, "The stern compartment needs to be detached, immediately." Joseph couldn't believe his ears. Detaching the stern compartment? But we can't just... Carry on. But Captain... It's an order. Joseph was shocked. Detaching the stern compartment meant abandoning all the resources and artifacts they'd been gathering for almost 2 years. As the ship's captain, Lazarus should have been aware of that fact. At the same time, Joseph knew that the captain always put safety of the ship and the crew first. For him to make a rash decision? No. Joseph couldn't imagine that. Yes, sir. A few seconds later, the ship accelerated into space, leaving tons of the precious cargo behind. The ship was reaching its maximum speed. They should have shaken their pursuers off, but... Don't relax yet. First mate, status report. Out of 135 Phantom 4 vehicles, 43 is still pursuing us. Anna's voice was trembling. Although the number of their pursuers has diminished, it was obvious that the situation remained critical. At the same time, Lazarus didn't even flinch. He stood firm like a rock, hands gripping the control stick. Anna scolded herself on the inside. Just like Joseph, she couldn't let herself doubt their captain, breaking his trust. Anna, our options? Those words lifted the spirits of the first mate. I suggest we use the photon gun. One careful blast at the nearest phantoms might scare off the others. Still looking forward, Lazarus replied. Aloud, proceed, first mate. Wait, Anna. Joseph's sudden shout interrupted the captain. Captain, in these circumstances, I prefer to use the disintegrator. Its energy consumption is higher, but it would generate additional momentum, increasing our speed. Fighting would be pointless. We don't stand a chance. We need to outspace the man. Joseph's voice stopped short the moment he met his captain's gaze. The captain had a waiting look in his eyes. He was somewhat surprised, it seemed. Anna, in turn, had mixed feelings. Joseph's idea could work out. But will the captain listen to Joseph, who is of junior rank? Very well. Prepare the disintegrator. Anna chose not to argue. Instead, she followed the orders without question. Silence fell in the cockpit. Even the roaring sound of engines seemed to go quiet. The crew was getting ready for the final, decisive blow. Lazarus raised his fist, still looking forward with confidence. That silent gesture told the crew to wait for his orders. Joseph was mumbling something silently while making strange gestures. One after another, he touched his forehead, belly, and shoulders with his fingers. Once the preparations had been completed, Anna gave Lazarus an inquiring look. The captain was still standing with his back to the crew. Fire! This is so cool. The ship shook, and then roared, unleashing a deadly beam at the enemy. After checking the dashboard, Lazarus gave his crew the thumbs up. We're gaining speed. Great idea, Joseph. First mate. You have something to learn from this bastard. Anna ignored those words. Pointless arguing would only prove her lack of competence, or perhaps there was another reason. For Joseph, however, it was the greatest praise ever imaginable. The captain had scolded his superior for the first time. Meanwhile, the beam's power had waned and Anna had an opportunity to assess the situation. Captain, 7 out of 43 Phantom 4s have been destroyed. The others are moving at the same speed. Anna turned towards the captain, awaiting further orders. However, he remained silent and motionless. She knew what that meant. Lazarus was giving her free rein. Recharging the disintegrator. After a few moments, the control panel blinked and a distinct sound informed Anna that the recharge process was complete. Ready to fire. Captain. Captain? Lazarus didn't reply. Unable to move, he was staring at something in front of him. He suddenly clutched his head, lost balance, and fell from the bridge right to his subordinate's feet. Anna abandoned her post without a second thought and rushed to his side. She pressed her cheek against the captain's still body. Captain? Are you alright? Joseph was about to dash toward Captain himself, but stopped at the right time. They were still being pursued, and he was now the only person who could control the ship. With an aching heart, Joseph jumped out of his seat and ran to the bridge. He took a firm grip of the control stick. Oh shit. Lazarus was staring into space, ignoring Anna's screams. Blood gushed out of his nose and ears. His breathing was uneven, he wheezed and coughed. He was suffocating. Joseph! Joseph! Bring the first aid kit. Do something. Hurry. I can't. Leave the control stick. The autopilot module has been destroyed. We'll lose control of the ship. Indeed. One of the enemy's first shots holed the right wing and had unfortunately destroyed the said module. The situation was getting worse. In a fit of anger, Anna pounded her fist into the metal floor. Captain, I'll be right back. Don't die, please. Do you hear me? After saying that, Anna hurried to the captain's cabin, stumbling over wires and debris scattered around the floor. This is a cool game. I fuck with this. One of the screens that still remained intact informed Joseph that the enemy phantoms were closing in. They were blurry red dots for now, but their silhouettes were becoming sharper with every passing second. Joseph looked at Lazarus, who was lying in a pool of his own blood. He felt his chest tighten. He was unable to help his captain in the moment when needed it the most. Joseph grasped the control stick with all his strength. The situation became completely hopeless. Now that the captain was at death's door, and the phantoms had almost caught up with him, it dawned on Joseph. They were done for. Do you see her? Huh? Joseph could hear the captain's voice even through the sound of roaring engines and crackling wires. He almost dropped the control stick to run to the captain's side, but managed to gather his thoughts in time. See who, Captain? Captain? Joseph watched Lazarus extend his hands and clutch his fists in awe. Why? What do you want? Oh, he's cooked, isn't he? Remember, Lazarus couldn't hear anything. His eardrums had popped a minute earlier. But this voice he heard loud and clear. Whoa, what? Remember. Lazarus twitched suddenly, and his eyes started to bleed profusely. Good God. His music. Anna, hurry! Anna ran toward the captain with the first aid kit in her hands. They were only 5 to 10 meters apart. Lazarus stood up, swaying like a zombie. Even more blood gushed out of his mouth. He paid it no mind and slowly moved towards Anna. His face was pale and his eyes were wandering. His hands were just hanging alongside the body with only the fingertips twitching. Anna fell to her knees, dropping the medical supplies. Then she screamed. Damn it. Damn it. Joseph let go of the control stick and rushed downstairs. The ship started to slow down. Joseph ran to the first mate and grabbed his shoulders. Anna, come and help him. Hey. Good. What is that? Is that that Phantom 4 shit they were talking about? A moment later, an enemy Phantom 4 appeared in the window. His metal hull glittered like snake scales, with a toxic shade of green. Joseph wanted to rush to Anna, but the Phantom 4 opened fire without any warning. The very first missile hit the dashboard close to Anna. She's torn in half by the shockwave while Joseph was thrown a few meters away. No. The air started to leave the cockpit through the freshly made breaches in the hole. Lazarus stood right in the middle of chaos, paying no mind to his surroundings. And another moment later, the spaceship Lilith was destroyed along with the remaining crew. Anna. Anna flinched after hearing her own name. Yes? She felt a strong hand grab her wrist. Chills ran through her half-naked body. Okay. Lazarus, it hurts. Sorry. It's fine. Okay. After saying that, Lazarus released Anna's hand and sat on the bed. Anna moved to his side and hugged him. Lazarus didn't resist. Lazarus. Yes, Anna. Is something wrong? I had a terrible dream. It was as if Anna pressed her chest against his back, forcing him to fall silent. It's just a dream, darling. Oh, they got relations? What? They're having relations. Yes, you're probably right. Anna pulled Lazarus with a tender but assertive motion, making him fall on his back. I want you. Okay. After those words, Anna climbed atop Lazarus and tightly gripped his body with her legs. Okay. Slowly and silently like a cat, she lowered her head on his chest. She stroked his stomach, slowly moving her hand lower and lower. Ooh, tough little picture. The spaceship Lilith was heading to its destination through the cold void, slowly but surely. It was moving through a nebula by the name of Lagoon, enveloped in its soft, almost palpable light, which was changing its color from light pink to crimson red. It felt like that light breathed life into the depths of dead space. The scenery would appear this way to anyone who has spent several months traveling through pitch black darkness. In reality, the lagoon was as lifeless as that very same darkness. Unfortunately, Lilith's crew members couldn't enjoy the view. Completely bewildered, they were checking up the engine room. For some unknown reason, the engines broke down, all at the same time. Lazarus frowned and crossed his arms on his chest. What do you think about this? Anna lowered her gaze. She was as puzzled as the captain himself. Still, she couldn't just stay silent. I hadn't finished the checkup yet, but it seems like there's no external damage. Perhaps the cause is a programming error, or... Do whatever you need. I'll be waiting for your report in an hour. Yes, Captain. Lazarus gave Anna and Joseph, who was standing at a distance, a grim look over, turned away, and left the engine room. As soon as the sound of the captain's footsteps faded away, ringing silence filled the room. What's wrong with him? Joseph scratched his head. He's never seen the captain in such a bad mood before. He was like a different person. Well, he probably had his reasons, but he had never lost his drive because of something this minor before. What's up with him, Anna? Anna? Are you crying? Anna stood in the center of the room and cried. Joseph was quite perceptive and realized that what was going on right away. He carefully went up to Anna and put his hand on her shoulder. Tell me, Anna. Anna shuddered and turned her teary eyes to Joseph. There's something that speaks to him. Even though it sounded pretty weird, Joseph still listened carefully. I'm afraid that Lazarus will find out. Joseph slowly ran his hand through Anna's hair, hugged her, and with a calming voice said, Don't worry, that's impossible. Anna clung to Joseph, her nails piercing his skin. Her crying became louder, stronger. No, something is off. I just feel it. Don't cry. Joseph had mixed feelings. The cool-headed and stoic Anna he had always known, she didn't exist anymore. Could it be that her fears were real? Don't cry, Anna. I'm right here. Don't. I won't let him. He's the only person I have. Anna started screaming. It was a sign that she didn't want to hear anything else. I love him so much. Right then. After some time had passed, Joseph and Anna came back to the cockpit, where Lazarus was waiting. He was at his seat with his back to them as always. Captain, we couldn't reveal the cause. The second mate was speaking in a confident voice. He's ready for anything. However, it didn't seem like the captain was about to reprimand them. To your posts. Prepare for the emergency docking. Obeying the order, Anna went to her seat. Joseph in turn didn't even budge, visibly confused. We're docking? Where to? What do you mean? To the station. But Captain, ouch! Joseph felt someone violently pinch his hand. He turned his head and met gazes with Anna. Joseph, please do as he says. But Anna. Joseph spoke in a barely audible whisper. There's no station. Joseph, please. Back to your post, second mate. Steer toward the station. Reluctant, Joseph returned to his seat. After some manipulations with the dashboard, he directed the ship toward the area Lazarus specified. Lazarus looked at the bizarre station as their ship was slowly approaching it. He's never seen anything like that, as if it wasn't a mere station, but a flying fortress, so colossal it was. It looked nothing like the stations they'd encountered before, as if it belonged to some long-forgotten era. What do you think, Anna? Anna and Lazarus were both looking into the window, but she obviously couldn't see any station. But she still whispered, "It's breathtaking." Lazarus looked at Anna with a genuine amusement. Really? You think so? Yeah. She felt that they were slowly becoming estranged, and that she couldn't do anything about it. One thing Anna knew for sure, something that wanted to take Lazarus away was at this very station. She won't let this happen. Anna stands on business. We're ready to dock, Captain. Joseph's loud voice broke the awkward silence. Lazarus had immediately forgotten about Anna and went back to the bridge. Get ready. The closer they were to the station, the more anxious Anna felt. She could tell that something was wrong. Anna wanted to call out to Joseph, but to her horror, discovered that her lips couldn't move. She tried to turn her head to look at him, however, it was as if her body was also paralyzed. Everything was moving in slow motion. Out of the corner of her eye, Anna watched the ship's outline distorting, twisting, losing shape, along with her own body. Anna screamed with all her might, but couldn't hear her own voice. After taking a deep breath, she's going to give it another try, but her scream got stuck in her throat and she was blinded by agonizing pain. The pain was coming from the inside, concentrating in Anna's head, causing her to suffer. What's wrong with you? Dumbfounded, Joseph watched Anna writhe in pain, unable to help. Just like her, he was paralyzed and couldn't even lift a finger. But he could still talk, so he yelled at the top of his lungs. Help her, Captain! Captain, please! Lazarus was able to move, but didn't bother to help the first mate. That is fucked. The scene unfolding before his eyes was totally different. What the fuck? Anna's face was split into fragments, while her silhouette was shaking, full of ripples. A cry had finally escaped her lips. However, it was just so distorted that it sounded like static coming from a broken device. Lazarus rubbed his eyes. He knew that it couldn't be real. What are you? When she heard the captain's voice, Anna turned to face him. The movement was unnatural, twitchy. Lazarus blinked, and Anna was already right before him. Lazarus clutched his head. It seemed like that terrible voice was coming from his own body. It didn't belong to Anna, but could that creature still be here? Anna, stop! This time Lazarus felt like thunder resounded inside his head, as if the creature was getting angry. The sound was growing stronger. It was spreading through his whole body. Lazarus was being shaken by some invisible force. After a few seconds, he realized, the engines! Lazarus tore his eyes away from Anna's distorted face and looked into the window. The station was slowly moving away. Hopeful, Lazarus turned to face Anna again. She neither returned to normal nor disappeared. Instead, she was even closer to Lazarus now. You could hear her breathing, ragged and distorted. Don't trust us. Anna's silhouette began to distort even further, blinding Lazarus. You could hear a barely intelligible scream through all the static. Darkness fell. Oh, good God. Lazarus jumped out of his bed with a scream, waking Anna up. Another dream? My God, what happened? She moved closer and reached out to Lazarus. However, he threw her hands off violently. Wow. Don't touch me. His tone made Anna gasp. Her eyes got wet with tears. Lazarus' voice was as cold and sharp as ice. It felt totally alien. Anna tried to embrace him again, but he pushed her away and escaped into the darkness of the room, stumbling. That's so mean. Lazarus, what's wrong? He's a meanie poo. Lazarus hid in the farthest corner and hugged his knees. He was trembling so much his head would occasionally hit against the wall. May I come closer? Silence. Anna wrapped herself up in the blanket and got out of bed. Lazarus. What's the meaning of this? His silent voice wasn't so cold anymore. However, she could tell that he was scared. What are you talking about? She was slowly getting closer, her bare feet stepping carefully on the metal floor. These words, what do they mean? Anna stopped. You just had a nightmare. What do they mean? Lazarus, please. Anna's eyes got wet again, and she hurried to wipe her tears with the blanket. Please, tell me. Lazarus remained silent. Anna mustered all her courage and came up to him. Tell me all about it. Anna stroked his hair, ready for everything. Lazarus flinched out of surprise but remained motionless after that. He just kept on panting loudly. All the engines failed. We were going to the station and then something strange happened. Anna felt uneasy after hearing that. The words themselves weren't the problem. The problem was in his eyes. They were delirious. Your face. Suddenly, Lazarus reached to Anna with his hand. She recoiled, barely able to hold in the scream. Then she started feeling her own face. My face? What's wrong with it? You've said some weird things. Lazarus ignored her question. Don't trust us. That's what you said. I didn't. She was still talking when Lazarus grabbed her by the throat with both hands. What does it all mean? Jesus Christ. But please, let me go! The monster's grip on the woman's neck had weakened a little, but then Lazarus squeezed it even stronger. What do those damn words mean? Lazarus' breathing was hoarse and rapid. Saliva was dripping from his mouth. It was clear he was out of his mind. Anna's mind was already fading away, but then Lazarus released her neck. After breaking free from the crazy captain, Anna stepped back. Lazarus, what the fuck's wrong with you? Suddenly, he screamed like a madman and clutched his head. Anna was so frightened that she started to cry. Then she forced herself up and went to seek help from Joseph. Lazarus didn't even notice that he'd been left alone. Attacked by terrible pain, he screamed in hopes that it would ease his suffering even a little. The pain was so strong it felt like nails were being hammered into his head. And with each hit of the hammer, there were formless images appearing, vanishing and altering inside his head. Whoa. It was an unfamiliar experience for him, but somehow he felt it happened before. Then the images got replaced by digits. After that, by words. Eden. I just saw Japanese in there too. And there was a word that appeared of 10 than others. Eden. A few minutes later, the door opened, and Joseph slowly walked in. Anna stayed at a distance, hiding behind the doorway. Captain? But please, calm down. Joseph took a deep breath and started closing in, slowly but surely. Captain? Get away! Lazarus swung his hand at Joseph. The second mate was quick enough to step back. Captain, it's me, Joseph. Lazarus hid in the darkest corner of the room again. He stared at Joseph from there with bestial and human eyes, full of terror. Who are you? Why am I here? Captain, I want to help. Together with Anna, we can help you. Anna? Yes, you love her, don't you? Don't you, Captain? No, it's her face. Her face? Lazarus smiled, showing his teeth, and then burst into laughter. Joseph was taken aback. You're a liar, Joseph. There's something wrong with you. With both of you. He glared at Anna, who was still hiding behind the doorway, scared as fuck. As per usual. No, I... However, the captain ignored her. Stop the ship. I can't. Eden is really close. With a sudden movement, Lazarus grabbed the second mate by his collar. However, Joseph didn't even flinch. I won't stop it. Sorry. You fucking bastard! After violently pushing Joseph away, Lazarus got up, swaying. Unable to stand this any longer, Anna rushed to Joseph, who was lying on the floor. There was a metal pipe in her hand. Please, don't. Give me that. Joseph snatched the pipe from Anna's hands and got up and assumed a fighting stance. Lazarus made a few steps back, barely keeping himself from falling over, until his back was against the wall. Joseph's actions had apparently scared him. Joseph walked slowly toward the captain, brandishing his metal weapon. What are you doing? I'm sorry, Captain. Joseph raised the pipe over his head. Stop! Sound of impact. Followed by Lazarus hitting the metal floor with a thud. Clunk. No! Anna pushed Joseph away and ran to Lazarus, who was lying motionless, and burst into tears. What have you done? He will. She touched his face with her shaking hand. Oh, Lazarus. My dear Lazarus. He's alive. He's still on business. Big up, Joseph. Anna was slow to pick up the meaning of Joseph's words, so she continued to cry for a while. But alive? Of course. Did you really think I'd kill him? But you wanted to. No, I didn't. Joseph turned away. Let's go. He'll come to his senses soon. We can't just leave him like this, Joseph. Yes, the fuck you can. You get the fuck away from him. When Lazarus opened his eyes, he found himself lying on his bed in the captain's cabin. His head throbbed with pain. He couldn't remember anything that happened before he lost consciousness. The door opened. Anna walked in with a wet towel in her hands. She came up to the bed and sat by the captain's side. You. Let me help. After kissing Lazarus on his forehead, she placed the towel there and pressed on it just a little. You've had it rough, honey. What happened? You suddenly lost consciousness. We were so worried. Why? Why was that? Anna hesitated for a moment. I think it's all because of Eden. Joseph was acting weird too. At least he didn't collapse like you. No matter what he says, don't be angry with him, alright? Lazarus didn't listen to shit, Anna said after she mentioned the word Eden. Eden. Yes, we're finally there. In the end, all roads led to Eden. Lazarus winced from the severe pain attacking his temples. Eden. No, I don't want to. He tried to get up, but instead discovered that his limbs were strapped to the bed with leather belts. What the hell? Lazarus, please calm down. You. At that moment, the belt that held his right hand in his tight clutches snapped. Anna wasn't quick enough to move back, and Lazarus managed to grab her by the wrist. You. Stop, Lazarus, it hurts. Lazarus looked her in the eye and saw his own face, twisted with pain and hatred. He couldn't explain why, but he was sure it was the face of someone else. But please, let me go. Lazarus ignored Anna's pleas. Instead, he squeezed Anna's wrist so hard it broke with a loud crunching sound. Anna's shrill scream forced Lazarus to come to his senses. He got rid of the remaining straps and jumped out of his bed. The headache became stronger. Anna was lying on the floor, unable to get up. Lazarus, please. Shut up. Lazarus kicked Anna in rage, making her scream even louder than before. Bro, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? I hate Lazarus now. Oh god, shut the hell up already. Lazarus clutched his head again. He couldn't withstand the terrible pain anymore. Once again, a sequence of formless images had appeared in his mind. I'm seeing Japanese in there. What is he eating? Lazarus slammed the mirror hanging on a nearby wall. With all his might, it answered him with an eardrum-splitting sound of clanging broken glass. The pain became many times stronger. Lazarus howled like a dying beast. Anna, who watched that nightmare unfold, mustered all her strength and screamed, "Joseph, help me, please!" After a moment, the door was thrown open and Joseph, the second mate, broke in. Apparently, he was right behind the door all that time, but hesitated to enter for some reason. Captain. What is Eden? What is it? Lazarus flounced around the room and waved his blood-stained hand while staring at Joseph with bloodshot eyes. Suddenly, he picked up a glass shard from the floor, grabbed Anna by her hair, and brought the shard to her face. Oh my god. Don't hurt her. Please, don't. Silence! The captain's hands were trembling. Anna knew that just a little more and he would stab her in the eye. She looked at Joseph with pleading eyes, waiting for him to act. Please, let her go. Why is this happening? Who are you? Lazarus turned the hand that was holding the shard to himself and looked at his own reflection. Who am I? And he dropped the shard and clutched his head. Joseph took advantage of the situation and rushed to Anna's side. Why did you go and see him? He's dangerous, Anna. I just thought that I could do something. Idiot! Joseph picked Anna up and led her out of the room, slamming the door. Lazarus staggered toward the bed. He was almost there when his legs gave way and he collapsed. Ding! The sound came from beneath the bed. It seemed like something fell out of his pockets while he was falling. Lazarus reached out and felt a small, smooth object. A ring. After twiddling with it for a little, he was able to discern a barely visible inscription. I love you. S20X5. I love you. For some reason, Lazarus repeated those words. He continued to repeat them again and again, louder and louder, as if there was some kind of an incantation. Indeed, it felt like he was invoking something long forgotten and unattainable. And these digits. If the 20X5 part is a year, then that ring must have been several centuries old. But how come something like that was in Lazarus' pocket? The pain eased a bit. Lazarus sighed. He could hear Anna's sobs from behind the wall. Lazarus picked up the ring again and continued examining it. How come he didn't even know of its existence for 2 whole years? All he needed to do was check the pocket. What should I do, Sylvia? Who is Sylvia? Sylvia. Her name, Sylvia. Sylvia! Lazarus sprung to his knees and shouted, Where are you, Sylvia? There was an image of a young woman flickering in his head, long blonde hair, strict face. Yes, he was definitely in love with that woman and not Anna. But he had never met her before, so how was it possible? Lazarus felt that the ring didn't belong in his place, that it was supernatural. As if proving his point, the room outlines started to blur and mix. Lazarus clenched his fists, anticipating a new wave of pain. But it never came. Instead, some entity appeared in front of him, seemingly out of thin air, and was slowly gaining human form. Edna. A girl with eyes as black as the space itself. Her face was so emotionless, one could think she was wearing a mask. She looks just like Edna from The Incredibles. I'm sorry, I can't. Her body was wrapped up in a mantle. Can you see me? Lazarus had obviously heard that voice before. Who are you? The girl ignored his question. Lazarus had mixed feelings. He was scared of the girl, but at the same time, for the reasons unknown, he also saw hope from her. What is going on with me? The girl gave him a satisfied nod. Apparently that was the right question to ask. They're almost out of here. Out of here? Out of where? Your name is Lazarus. You are the captain of the spaceship called Lilith, which has been traveling to Eden for 2 years. Is that correct? Everything she said was true. However, Lazarus hesitated. I don't know. Precisely. All of this doesn't exist. I don't understand. You do. But what about Eden? Oh, Eden definitely does not exist. Or definitely does exist. Moreover, it's the only thing that does exist. I don't get it. I don't. Lazarus swung his hand at the girl. He went through her body without meeting any resistance. Damn it! Lazarus fled. He sprinted, ready to bump into the wall, but the hit didn't come, as if the walls were running away. Lazarus chased him for a while, then fell to his knees in exhaustion and embraced himself with trembling hands. Tell me, do you remember your father? It felt like the voice was coming from everywhere, including his own body. Leave me alone. What about your mother? No. What year were you born in? Finally, what is the name of your wife? Sylvia. Sylvia. Her name is Sylvia. Unable to bear it any longer, Lazarus started to cry. The girl came up to him and touched his head with her ghostly hand. Finally. What in the world? Oh, what in the world is Eden? You already know it. At that moment, a bizarre vision burst out in Lazarus' mind. Nighttime, a misty alleyway of an unfamiliar city. At the end of it, an alluring bluish light. A hushed voice can be heard. All roads led to Eden, but you can choose how you get there. Why did you go there? Didn't you know what kind of place it was? Of course I knew. But I had no other choice. The girl's gaze was fixed on the ring in Lazarus' hands. I am sure she is still waiting for you. Lazarus sobbed, trembling with his whole body. That day, she finally told me the truth. She said that she wants me dead, that only my death will fix everything. But I couldn't care less. Is that really true? A speck of irritation could be heard in the girl's voice. I gave up on myself a long time ago, and Sylvia, she just should have left me, but she didn't abandon me even though I had become a stranger to her. Well... Lazarus raised his teary face and looked the phantom girl in the eyes. I know I don't deserve to live. The girl continued stroking his head, trying to soothe Lazarus. But I want to return to Sylvia. Tell me there's still a chance. I can get you out of here, now that you remember. I know what to do. The girl's silhouette started fading away and the room was getting back to normal. Lazarus tried to touch the girl but pulled his hand away at the last moment. What's your name? You have 10 minutes. Get ready. Wait! A few moments later, the girl dissolved into thin air. Clutching the ring in his hand, Lazarus got up and headed into the doorway. Both of his shipmates were hiding beneath one of the dashboards, waiting for the captain to show himself. Anna was crying and Joseph held her tightly. They watched Lazarus stumble out of his cabin. Anna tried to break off from Joseph, but his grip was strong. Joseph, please. Don't move. Joseph held Anna with one hand while gripping the blood-covered pipe with another. What is he doing? Anna watched Lazarus ascend to the bridge and approach the main dashboard with teary eyes. The ship started to slow down. A few moments later, the spaceship Lilith came to a full stop. After that, the captain descended the bridge and sat down on the floor, panting. He buried his face in his hands. That's our chance, Anna. No, please don't. Joseph had silently crawled out of his cover and tried to sneak up on Lazarus. He hid the hand with the pipe behind his back. Lazarus was still on the floor. He clutched his head as if trying to smash it. Swaying from side to side, he was muttering something to himself. Joseph listened in. When? How long will I? Joseph raised his hand, ready to strike. Go away. Captain, who are you talking to? Go away. Who are you talking to? Suddenly, Lazarus jumped at the second mate. Joseph tried to hit him with the pipe, but he wasn't quick enough. Lazarus punched him in the face and knocked him over. Then he snatched the pipe from Joseph's hands. Captain! Lazarus' breathing was hard and fast. He clutched the pipe even harder. Then he slowly raised it. Sylvia. Lazarus. The blow landed on the nose bridge. A loud cracking sound, and a huge hole appeared in Joseph's head. Crimson blood seeped through the ripped skin. Anna was still under the cover and didn't see that horror. However, the sound of the blow forced her to peek out. Oh, he's cooked. Ooh, he ain't coming back up. Oh, God. Anna had almost screamed and immediately covered her mouth. She knew if Lazarus noticed her, she would be dead. Joseph was still alive. With his last bit of strength, he held out his hands toward Lazarus and grabbed his shirt. Nig. A second blow? And the second mate's head was smashed to pieces. Holy fuck. Jesus. Anna couldn't take it anymore. She screamed with all her might. Lazarus bent over Joseph's corpse and started to mutter something, as if he couldn't hear Anna scream. She hurried back under her cover, unable to believe her luck. She sighed with relief. Anna. Taken back by surprise, she almost jumped up. That voice. It was Lazarus. It was lifeless, but at the same time, calm and soothing. Anna, you love me, don't you? Lazarus, Anna looked at her hand. Her wrist was twisted in an unnatural way. It was Lazarus doing, she kept telling herself, but Anna mustered all her courage and stepped out of their cover to face Lazarus. He, in turn, got up, letting go of the pipe. It fell to the floor with a loud clang. I love you so much, Lazarus. My dear Lazarus. Anna. Lazarus quickened his pace. Lazarus? Oh, she's dead, isn't she? Uh-oh. That music. Suddenly, he reached out to her and felt the tight grip on her neck. Everything went dark. Lazarus. Don't. I could have been with her by now, but you forced me to forget her. You ain't believe that I love you. Fucking bitch. Suddenly, he loosened his grip and kneed her in the stomach with all his might. Anna screamed and started coughing. Blood splattered on Lazarus' face. He pushed Anna away and began wiping it with his shirt in disgust. Lazarus. He gave Anna a hateful stare. She was lying in a fetal position holding her stomach. Blood was dripping down her legs. Well, why did you... Lies. Lazarus yelled like a madman and started kicking Anna. She couldn't muster enough strength to scream, so she moaned faintly. Lies, 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 lies. All lies. Exhausted, Lazarus fell to his knees and closed his eyes. He couldn't hear anything besides his own heartbeat and Anna's ragged breathing anymore. He felt relieved and devastated at the same time. Just a little more, and it would all be over. Are you ready? The same girl appeared out of nowhere and put her hand on Lazarus' shoulder. She looked him straight in the eyes without paying at the bloody corpses, lying on the floor any mind. I am not finished yet. Lazarus tried to get up, but the girl didn't let him. Her grip was surprisingly strong. Please, don't kill her. When he tried to break free again, he felt strength leave his body and his eyes closed by themselves. You acted as you saw fit, but let me stop you now. After saying that, the girl embraced Lazarus. I'm scared. Think of what is precious to you, and nothing else. Of course, all Lazarus could think of was Sylvia. Will I see her? Hmm? You must have hope. Why are you saving me? The girl's face wavered. I only want to destroy Eden. You're beyond saving. But beyond saving? The girl had gone quiet. I'm sorry. I don't understand you at all. The girl refused to look Lazarus in the eye. Finally, she made a deep breath and began talking. There had always been only one person in my life. The one who breathed life into me and had been staying with me until I decided to become something greater. Ikuro, my creator. He gave me his faith in people, and also his love. I knew, in turn, that the world you humans live in isn't fair, so I decided to help you hold out against it with all I had. I was so stupid back then. I was and still am. I'm reminded over and over, you people absolutely deserve the world you live in. Lazarus listened carefully but could barely grasp the meaning of her words. While slowly losing consciousness, he reached out to the girl, but she coldly put away his hand. I was looking for you for so long. When I finally found you, I couldn't get through. I tried many approaches until I discovered a loophole in the code. That's how I managed to get in touch with you. Unfortunately, the first attempt had failed. I'm sure you remember it well. Now I know I shouldn't have done that. I should have given it all and just let you die. Lazarus realized he couldn't move his body anymore. Tell me. Lazarus couldn't produce words anymore, but the girl heard them anyway. Yes? What's your name? The girl hesitated. When she finally resolved herself, Lazarus couldn't recognize her voice. It was completely dead. I'll tell you my name for the last time and then forget about you forever. What? I am so sorry, Ikuro. Oh! He created her! What? Surely not, right? No. Wait, my name is... Whoa. The dark room was suddenly bathed in a crimson light. The steady buzzing of hibernation pods that were embedded in the damp walls was replaced with a growing hum. One of them was opening. As soon as the pod doors were open, a man fell out. He gasped for air and wallowed like a fish that has been washed ashore. It took him some time to get over it. He forced himself up. He was wearing a long white robe. After looking around, the man tried to recall how he had ended up here, but he couldn't. The man approached a long row of hibernation pods and started examining them. Each of the pods had been given a unique number, next to which was an array of green lights. The man peeked inside one of them with caution. He could see a human silhouette even through the blurry glass. Wasn't he just inside one of those himself? He turned around and saw an open pod. His pod. The lights on it were bright red, alerting him of some sort of malfunction. Looking around the room, he tried to remember at least something. All in vain. Suddenly, the same hum came from the other side of the room. It was slowly getting louder. The man turned toward the sound. One of the pods was glowing with red light. After a few moments, the pod's doors shifted. The man started running without thinking. He just ran with all he had. The only thing the man wished for was to be as far from this place as possible. He rushed through the dark, unfamiliar hallways, having no clue of where they could possibly lead. After he turned the corner for about the 20th time, the man stopped. He staggered to a nearby wall and leaned against it. He tried to catch his breath, one thing occupying his mind. I can't stay here. The man heard the sound of footsteps from somewhere far away. Apparently the person from that pod was rapidly closing in. There was no time to think. The man took off once again. He couldn't remember how he'd escaped. His legs just brought him to the exit through an endless array of identical hallways. As soon as he saw light flicker at the end of another hallway, he quickened his pace without even realizing it. Eden. When he broke out of the darkness, the man found himself in a deserted alleyway, illuminated by the single signboard. He could hear a calm voice behind his back. All roads lead to Eden, but you can choose how you get there. The late night sky had already begun to brighten up. Wow, this is really good. The man heard a terrible loud screeching coming from somewhere high above. When the man raised his head, he saw a long, snake-like train. It accelerated before disappearing somewhere between the tall gray buildings. With his eyes wide open, the man watched the unfamiliar city waking up. The cold wind blew across the alleyway. The man shivered. A robe made of thin, almost transparent fabric was the only thing he was wearing. People have slowly begun filling the alley. The man didn't want somebody to see him in his current outfit. His skinny, half-naked body could also be seen because of the sun that had treacherously appeared out of nowhere. Lurking in the shadows, the man sneaked through the narrow passages, trying to avoid contact with omnipresent people. Every time the light appeared in a window, he shivered. The man had absolutely no idea where to go. Driven by raw fear, all he wanted was to get as far from people as possible. Relatable. That morning turned out to be especially memorable for May. She has never seen lunatics walking around a residential block before. She stretched and got up from her chair, ready to have some fun. Hey, moron! The guy in a white coat started to look around nervously, trying to figure out where the voice had come from. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Have you escaped a loony bin or what? The man was turning his head back and forth so intensely he barely kept his balance. Finally, he noticed a rowdy lady. He got scared and was going to run away. However, the man stared at the building instead, frozen like a statue. He was somehow attracted to it, but he had no idea why. His head thrown back, he continued to stare as if trying to embrace the whole building with his eyes. In a few moments, he became obsessed with it. He had to get inside. He totally forgot about May and started walking toward the entrance with confident steps. Are you dumb? Get the hell out of here before I call the police. However, the man didn't pay her attention anymore. May was surprised by the sudden change in his behavior. What a lunatic. Reluctant, she opened the door and went out to face the man in the white coat. Listen, let's solve this peacefully. I won't harm you and... Hey! The man had shoved her hand and ran to the stairs. Stop! Stop right there, damn it! She was going to chase after him, but stopped herself soon enough. It would be better to call the police first. The man had run up to the 10th floor without catching a breath and leaned against the concrete fencing. What was he doing here? The answer was simple. Just for a moment, he thought that someone might be waiting for him in this building. The thought came to him as soon as he escaped that dark labyrinth. However, he was too scared back then, and the thought vanished. But now he was obsessed with it. Finally, the man stopped in front of one of the floors. A lifeless gray hallway, which had a feeling of depression to it, and an array of lifeless gray doors. It was hard to believe people could be really living there. The man proceeded the corridor until he stopped at the door, N337. He could tell it was the right door. The man braced himself and knocked. Silence. He knocked again, but there was no response. After the third try, which had obviously failed, he reached out for the doorknob, but his hand stopped at the last moment. The man looked at it in shock. His skin was pallid and almost as gray as the walls surrounding him. He turned his gaze toward his coat. It was covered in dust and mud. Nobody would welcome such a guest. However, it was too late to give up. Maybe it was his only chance to find out what had happened to him. He grabbed the doorknob with confidence and opened the door. As soon as he entered, the man started coughing. The floor, the furniture, the walls, everything was completely covered in dust and the air in the room was stale. He covered his mouth with his hand, came up to the window and threw it open. The curtains flew up at the sudden gust of wind, letting sunlight through for a brief moment. It was just enough for the man to take a good look at the surroundings, including personal belongings of the residents. It seemed like two people lived there, one of them most probably being a woman. Or maybe they had lived there. It was obvious nobody had been there for a long time. The man walked along the walls with caution, trying not to step on something with his bare feet. One of the walls drew his attention. There was another door hidden behind the cloth. He came up to the wall and moved the cloth. As he was going to open the door, a thought came to him. There might be people inside. It would be better to knock first. However, that door was no different from the first one. The man heaved a deep sigh and pulled on the doorknob. It was closed. He pulled stronger, but nothing happened. Please open the door. What came out from his mouth was a pathetic wheeze of a voice. The man didn't care. He wanted someone to hear him. Open the door. He had nowhere to go. His only hope was behind that door. He knew it in his heart. However, he got no reply. I beg you, open the door. He started to scream. Then he began yanking the doorknob. But no matter how he tried, it wouldn't budge. Then he kicked the door so hard it cracked. Another kick, and it was thrown open. Oh, I think I know what's going to happen next. Panting, the man entered the room that was hidden behind the door. Oh, please don't tell me it's what I think it is. The stench inside was so intense, it forced him to lean on the wall and slowly slide down. Oh yeah, that first sentence fucking confirms it. Oh, this is sad. It was the smell of decay. The tiled floor, along with the walls, was covered in crimson stains. But the man could only look one way. Oh, I knew it. That's gonna be Sylvia, isn't it? Please, don't tell me this guy gets a bad ending. The sound of police sirens could be heard through the thrown open window. Oh, wow. Oh my god, this game is so good. Bro, these endings make it so crazy, too. That was such a good game. That was so awesome. I love the animation for that one, too. It was like some futuristic type beat. But anyways, y'all, that is about to be the end of this one. I appreciate y'all for watching, as always. I really appreciate the support on these last videos. Y'all went crazy. I was not expecting all that, but it makes me so happy. It makes me want to keep going, keep trucking along. You know how it is. So I appreciate y'all for watching, as always. Please like, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.